If the A's were coming off a 99-win season, regular season, and they just went to their 5th straight playoffs, and Oakland just announced that Howard Terminal was going to get voted on, and it was pretty much a done deal, and things were going well, and the A's had a 58% chance to advance and, I don't know, take on the Angels. Oh my goodness. Packed Coliseum, 45, 50,000, guaranteed.
Here's Brody Brazil.
Before anything else in this video, let me just declare, I like the Rays. A lot of times I'm rooting for the Rays. I feel like I understand the Tampa Bay Rays. And I also subscribe to that saying that you shouldn't throw stones when you live in a glass house. That being said, I need to talk about their first postseason game. It's the AL Wildcard Series. They're hosting it against the Texas Rangers. And Game 1 yesterday had a first pitch time of 3:07 Eastern. What in the world are we doing, baseball? And this is not the Rays' fault. This is not the Rangers' fault. I said I can't throw stones in the glass house. Well, I live in the A's house. And the last time they were in the playoffs was that weird 2020 season. And almost all of their games were like noon Pacific starts. Different time, different landscape in the year 2020, but I understand with more teams in the postseason, you have to stretch things out. You're really trying to avoid one game stepping on the other. You want to have constant baseball all day long, but you just really can't do that and sacrifice important baseball games and start them at 3:07 in the afternoon. I mean, 3:07 there is what, 2:07 in Texas? It's a little bit past noon on the West Coast, and if you're lucky enough to be in Hawaii, it's 9 in the morning. My point is, what I'm about to say here is largely the fault and the doing of Major League Baseball by scheduling this game for that time. But before we actually get to the root of this video, and I think you know the topic, I need to do this full setup here. There's a lot of hype on the Rays these days, and there should be. They almost had 100 wins in their regular season. 99-63 was their record. They're the top wild card team in the American League, meaning that they are the number 4 seed, if you will. They've been going to playoff after playoff, literally their 5th straight season in the postseason. And most of all here, like I shouldn't have buried the lead, their team just announced an agreement for a term sheet with the city of St. Petersburg as well as Pinellas County. Now, full disclosure here, a lot of people are saying, oh, the Rays stadium deal, it's a done deal. Oh, no. And I'm not saying it won't happen, but there are still some major votes to take place. There's some major understandings to be had, some major disconnects on who's paying for what, the other benefits of the project. They still need $600+ million of public money, $300 from the city of St. Pete, $300 from Pinellas County. In addition to other bonuses and benefits and privileges along the way that a lot of people aren't sure about or haven't been voted on yet. So hold your horses, right? There is optimism, and I'm all for that. Again, as somebody in the A's realm and the A's sphere of just wanting teams to stay where they're at and get a good second chance and do things the right way in their market instead of always having to cut a corner here or there like Tampa has had to do. Their entire existence playing at the Trop, or the former Suncoast Dome, a building that was built before the Rays were even a thing. Anyway, just so you know, there should be some excitement. The team's going to stay. The team's spending money. The team's got stars. The team had another great regular season, and the team has a 58% chance to advance past this round. A very difficult Rangers team, a very high-spending Rangers team, a 58% chance. They're the favorites to advance and go play Baltimore. Another AL East team that was the only reason why the Rays didn't win the East, because Baltimore was such a story this season. But that's, right, what a storyline that would be. You get to face them. Maybe you get to beat them. Now you're going to the ALCS if you beat Baltimore. So a lot of reasons, right, why fans in Tampa should be excited. And when they get a playoff game, the first one of a series, they should show up and show out, except... official attendance for today's Rangers-Rays game, 19,704. I mean, you don't need me to tell you. Just look at that visual right there. Not just the third deck, the second deck, and much of the first deck unoccupied. That is the lowest attendance figure for an MLB postseason game since 1919. And I bet the reason why in 1919, maybe some of the stadiums just were not that big. Or there was something else happening in the world at that time. But can you believe, just looking at that right there, that is the first game of a playoff. Now, I said before, the whole MLB scheduling thing, they don't want to have games stepping on each other. They want to maximize TV ratings. This is part of it. The time of day is part of it. So, Rays fans, I got you on that part. I totally understand that part. But even when this happened to the A's over the years, there was never a game that saw just not even 20,000. That's pretty amazing. And I'm not doing this to put pressure, honestly, on the Rays. My bigger question here lies with how Major League Baseball approaches this. What's their mindset on this? How much pressure has Major League Baseball been putting on the Rays to get their stadium situation figured out? Because there have been these two teams, the A's and Rays. They're the only things holding baseball back from expanding. And baseball wants to expand. More teams, more revenue, instant expansion fees. There's so many reasons that baseball wants to get bigger and broader as soon as they can. And yeah, the A's and Rays have largely been in the way. You can't expand teams until you figure out all of your issues first. So Major League Baseball apparently were the ones pressuring the A's, influencing the A's, encouraging the A's, whatever they were doing, allowing the A's to pursue parallel paths starting in 2021, the first couple months of 2021. Baseball was like, here, go do this. To what level, to what degree, I'll still never know. Maybe it was more the A's doing, and baseball said, okay. Maybe it was baseball's doing. You'll never really know how much MLB was behind it. But they weren't against it. They never stood up and said, well, actually, we don't want them testing out Las Vegas. Baseball has never really told the Rays, hey, you know what? Orlando wants a team. You guys should look at Orlando right now. That literally just happened. A group in Orlando came out and said, we want expansion or we want to bring a team here. Like, the Rays. Las Vegas never had a group, never had an interest party, a clamoring fan base to try and bring the A's to Las Vegas. They never had that. I've said it before, the A's need Las Vegas more than Las Vegas needs the A's. But you didn't see MLB telling the Rays, hey, go look at Orlando. Or, you know what, you should do that whole split thing with Montreal. Oh my goodness. You want to talk about terrible ideas. The premise that the Rays would do half their games in Montreal and the other half of their games in Tampa, like first half, second half of the season. What a disaster. What player in their right mind would ever want to be on that team and have to maintain two homes and be away from your family even longer during a regular season? And Rob Manfred in recent times has not worked with Oakland to try and figure out, okay, how can we have our communication here? How, if both sides have been at each other, basically. Oakland was upset at baseball. Baseball's now apparently upset at Oakland. They didn't communicate for so long. Now it was who should have called who first, Mayor Sheng Tao or Commissioner Rob Manfred. But you don't see any of this with baseball in Tampa. You only see the tension, the disconnect with MLB in Oakland. And it has always felt like the Rays were behind this process. Whatever the process is, it's different for the two separate places, but it always felt like the A's were a little bit ahead at Howard Terminal, trying to make things happen. Oakland securing that federal and state money to go towards the project. Meanwhile, the Rays were just talking about renderings and ideas, and will the Rays try and move to Tampa? They tried that. They talked about it. The Eber Harbor site, right, in Tampa. And that seems like what people prefer. It's closer to where they are. They hate taking the bridge, that big long bridge, all the way out to St. Pete It's inconvenient. And maybe part of that is why they just drew less than 20,000 for a playoff game. But it always seemed like the A's were ahead, and now the Rays are right there, but obviously the A's, their plans have totally changed because baseball was like, nope, just cut bait, get out of here. And I don't want baseball to turn on the Rays now and say, what? This term sheet doesn't work? Go to Orlando. But you know what? They might. Maybe the Rays still are behind in this process. Maybe if it comes to a city of St. Pete vote, a county vote in Pinellas County, and things don't go well, maybe MLB says, you guys are out of here too. So it's a bit frustrating, and I wasn't kidding earlier on social media when I said my comment on that video is like Oakland would never do this. With all the things going on, let me go back to this slide for a second real quick. I should have said this from the start. If the A's were coming off a 99-win season, regular season, and they just went to their 5th straight playoffs, and Oakland just announced that Howard Terminal was going to get voted on, and it was pretty much a done deal, and things were going well, and the A's had a 58% chance to advance and, I don't know, take on the Angels. Oh my goodness. Packed Coliseum, 45, 50,000, guaranteed. Rooted in Oakland, staying in Oakland. And obviously the team that would had to have got them here with 99 wins was a Chapman and Olsen and Murphy and Bassett and Marcus Semien team. So yeah, I mean, I am a little bit sore about the fact that Tampa had that showing and they're in a good spot. Oakland would love to be in that position. And baseball has never really put it on the Rays like they have the A's. So I'm trying to be fair in all this. Like I said, love Tampa, don't want to see bad things happen. I just want what the fans want down there. First off, they need to stay in the region, this Tampa St. Pete region. Nowhere else. Get a stadium you want. Get it passed in the way you want. But for baseball to treat these two different teams in similar situations in almost opposite ways, yeah, that's a bit frustrating. You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll help me out. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.